What's up, everybody? It's a little hot and bright out here today, so I just decided to keep my glasses on. Um, I hear a lot of people talk, and I hear people talk often about anger, and you're supposed to you can't be angry at things and stuff like that. I'm hesitant to talk about it because I feel like it's true and not true. All right, check this out. You can't have something that you're passionate about and not have emotion about it. And I'm not talking about walking around angry, and if somebody does the first thing, like step on your shoe or something, you snapping on them and going crazy. Nah, that's not angry. You got problems at that point. Like you want some other shit. But I'll get angry if things aren't done in a timely fashion. And the way I get angry now is I'll progressively get more aggressive in my conversation. You know what I mean? Like I'll go from, hey, can you do such and such or so-and-so for me? To like, are you going to do that? To, yo, do the shit I just told you to do. You know what I mean? That's my progression. I get like 3 progressions. But it's okay to be passionate about something, be passionate and be animate about it. Because again, if you're not passionate about it, how can somebody else, believe in what you're believing in unless you show some emotion about it? Now, the only time I don't agree with showing emotion is when you're in a meeting. Like if I'm in a meeting, I'm not gonna let you see what my emotions. I'm not gonna let you know if it pissed me off one way or the other. I try my best not to show emotion during a meeting. I've made that mistake before. The only way I can tell you about some shit is if I've made the mistake before. I've made the mistake of showing emotion during a meeting when I was younger, not now. And people can see my expression on my face. And when I go into a meeting now, I try to be a lot more even keel. So that way, if something bothers me, you won't be able to tell if it affected me one way or the other way because my emotions have been the same the entire time. Now, if I'm talking to a friend or I'm talking to somebody who's in-house with what it is that I'm doing, then you got to expect me to be emotional. But I don't like it when I do business with somebody and that person's in-house with me, like they're on our team, and they'll, question my emotion while we're having that conversation between the two of us versus when we're in a meeting. For example, I was working with my contract advisor. You know what I mean? You'll get this thing called what's an OSTABLE, which is your advisor, your contracting consultant advisor, whatever. And he's usually at a college somewhere, and he's the guy they say he works for you, and he really only can advise you to a certain extent. And the thing about these dudes is they know to a certain extent. Usually you got a lot of people that try to get into the game and they don't really pursue it hard enough. So they get a little bit of advice, enough advice that the consultant can give them some advice, but then or the counselor can give them some advice. And then, they don't have any more questions because the counselor only goes but so far. In my case, and several other people that I know in the South Florida area, we've pursued contracting. So it's our business. This is our gig. This is where we make our living. And when I talk to my counselor now, I know more about this than he does. So he's told me that, which at a certain point he wanted to do business with me and work with me, which was crazy in itself, but whatever. The thing that I needed to find out from him was, because you can get canceled for cause, canceled for no cause, or, different ways that contracts can dissolve and you not be affected. Being canceled for cause is a bad thing. So, that's a bad thing. If you take the course, you'll find out what being canceled for cause is. So I was dealing with a contract. The contract was overseas, and it was something where we were going to be upside down, like severely upside down on the contract, that I needed to get out of it. So I asked him, what do I need to do in order to get out of it? And he more or less told me, you need to write a letter, blah, 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 And I was telling him the story of what had happened to get to this point. And he turned around and was like, well, how are you going to talk to these people, Fred, if you all emotional and upset and angry and talking like... And I said, whoa. I'm talking to you like this. I'm not talking to them like this. I'm talking to you like this because, I thought we had developed a rapport. And at that point, I kind of knew I had outgrew him. And so I started going to, because there was another counselor that was like in West Palm Beach. And the counselor in West Palm Beach is really, she's a female. She's a lot more like active in the contracting community, so she had a lot more answers. So I went to her, and she talked to me. But what she did was turned around and told, I guess, who's the manager of all of them, that one of this guy's, assignees had come to her to talk, which I didn't know. I felt like, I don't know if that's snitching. I don't know how that works, but I needed some answers to these questions. I wasn't trying to jump over that guy to go to her, but I had to because I needed answers to these questions, and I knew she had the answers to those questions. So I did what I needed to do, so he got upset, right? He calls me, and he was upset with what I had done, which he had the right to be. I mean, I understood it. I understood where he was coming from, but at the same time, I had to tell him straight up, like, look, you tried to take what is a vulnerability of mine, right? Which is the emotional thing of being able to speak my mind, to be opinionated with you, and try to apply it to what goes on in the actual game. And so therefore, because I felt like you were trying to make this more of a personal conversation than it was a business conversation, I had to get rid of you. And I had to find somebody who could address the business side of it. Now, what she did with the information after that, I wasn't mad at her, and me and her still cool. But if you drop the ball, you drop the ball. I say all this to say, I was angry about that. I was angry about what he had did. I was angry about how it was done. I was angry at the whole situation. Just, I hear these people are career, government officials or federal officials or whatever, their designation or title is. And we dealing with this juvenile shit. And so I had to let him go. And I got a new one now. And my new one is up the road a little bit, like going towards Tampa. But he's cool. My new one is cool because he's aware. This guy who's down here, he hadn't really dealt with a contractor in a really long time. And it was another partner of mine who is a contractor also, who told me that I needed to go holler at this other guy who had a little bit more, was still a part of the game a little bit. This is another thing. I mean, I'm changing subjects real quick because we're talking about anger management. But make sure that you know who your contract advisor is. They're usually at a college, and you want to make sure that you make friends with them as early as possible. Now, back to anger management. I'm passionate when it comes to Apex. I'm passionate when it comes to Contract Fortune. These are things where I make a living. These are things that I have built, so they are family members of mine, if that makes sense. I take them very seriously. They've given me the life that I have now, so I can't help but be passionate about them. So for me to embrace some of that anger, right, when it comes in-house, I don't feel like that's a bad thing. So when people are like, I got some partners who are completely just ice cold. Like I got one partner who's completely ice cold, and like I've never seen him get upset like ever. That makes me nervous, man. Like it makes me nervous because if you are that ice cold and you got that much like pent up in you, what happens when it does come out? And the type of cat I am, like those that know me in real life, some of you know me in real life, I don't intentionally do it, as I said before, but I'll poke it something, and you might snap on me. And I don't want to be there if you snap on me. You know what I mean? I don't want to be there for that if you haven't ever snapped, because you might mess around and try to really hurt me, and then that would destroy our friendship, and I would be upset about that. But you have to have the ability to be passionate. Let your emotions come out when they need to come out so that you can get it out. But don't make an emotional decision. I don't condone that. Don't make an emotional decision. Like if I'm heated, like steam and vexed heated, and somebody asks me something about a business decision dealing with Apex or a contract, I'm not going to answer it. I'll just, I'll get with you later on that. You know what I mean? And I've done that numerous times. Like, I'll talk about it later. Because if you make an emotional decision and that decision is strictly out of anger, you might make a decision that will affect long term. So I I know that a lot of you already know these things, whether it be in your personal life, because all of that I'm saying, everything that I'm saying right now, goes for personal life and it goes for your business life. Don't make emotional decisions. I don't condone that. You have to have the ability to separate whatever you're angry or sad about or happy about. You have to have the ability to be passionate about it and then still be ice cold when it comes time to make a decision. So, that's one thing. You know what I mean? That's one thing. Like I hear a lot of people talking, motivational speakers, like ones that I really, admire. Then they'll be like, "Oh, you can't derive anything from your emotions." I think that's bullshit. I think that we all have to ventilate. We all have to ventilate. We all have to get whatever passion that's in us out. And I feel like it's even more for an entrepreneur because it takes a lot of fire to build a business. You know what I mean? And all of that fire. And another thing is being emotional with your employees. You can't be emotional with your employees. I do it with like one or two of my dudes because they are like friends and I've known them like forever. So therefore, I don't think they look at me from the perspective of, that's my boss. So, you know what I mean? And I don't think they look at me like that. I think they look at me as more like, yo, that's just Fred and shit. So we'll have passionate discussions, but like when it comes to others, I'll just back away. I'll back away, and I won't like if you go at me, I'm not gonna go back at you. I'll just fall back and let it marinate until I feel like okay, we can talk now. But that was it. You know what I mean? That was really all I had for this one. It's just I was riding and I was thinking and listening to people. And listening to some of my favorite speakers, and I just hear them all the time talking about, negative. Now, I mean, it's a difference in negative energy, and I'm not getting ready to run down that rabbit hole either. But it's a difference in negative energy and having emotion. You know what I mean? Like, you can have an emotion and be happy, sad, angry, whatever, but you don't have negative vibes with you. Like, you know what I mean? I hope I don't think I do. And I think I stand pretty solid by that. I don't produce negative vibes towards people. Like I try to be a positive person and that part is real. The energy that you give is the energy that you get. So, you know what I mean? That was really all it is about this one. Like and subscribe to the channel. I've been getting a lot of good feedback. I appreciate you. I appreciate anybody that's here willing to, listen to anything I'm saying, man. You guys are awesome. So have a wonderful day. I'm out.